everybody, Yeti Trades here. Just going to go over my watch list for Tuesday. Just a few things I found interesting over the weekend here. Looking at Airbnb, little gap up after earnings here, and it's not really wanting to hold up there. And Friday we had a nice sell-off at the morning, and then it spent the rest of the day consolidating. We're looking at the 15-minute chart here, and you can see this overall wedge is getting a little tight, but I'm more interested in the channel here. So we break upside or downside, could be a good move, but we are sitting $5 above the 9 EMA, and on the daily we do have a nice volume gap. Get rid of that. We got this nice volume gap here. So we could move through this zone back down pretty quick to at least fill that 9 EMA, which is over $5 away, even further for the gap fill. So that's my first one we're looking at. The next one's going to be ACGL. Again, another one coming up off its earnings here. 1, 2, 3 up. We had an outside day followed by an inside day followed by an outside day, with this nice little top being put in up here. On the 15-minute, you can see we're sitting just above the cloud. See if we can break back through it or not. There's a bunch of insider selling going on too. It was reported end of day on Friday, right before the close. So looking for a possible pullback. It is a lower ATR, but I'm watching for a break under 67.36 for the pivot point. Needs to have volume with it though. This might be one that you'd want to pick up a month or two out for the expiration if you're doing options. Next one's going to be AKAM. So Akamai Technologies. So this one's kind of interesting. Several analysts hold a $90 plus rating on this one, including Citigroup and Morgan Stanley, but JP Morgan is the only one maintaining a sell rating with a price target of $62. So this one's more on the back burner than anything. I do like this gap down it had after its earnings report. And on the daily here, we might be setting up to start rebounding. So we gap down, sold off, hit a low here and put in a nice wick. So we might be starting to kind of curve up and roll back around. However, I'm going to be kind of looking more on the analyst ratings with this one. If we get more flipping to the short side, then that could push this thing down further. But if for some reason JP Morgan flips and puts a $90 or higher price target like the other analysts have, then this thing could really get moving, and there's a lot of nice upside to that $90 range. So I'm looking for a break to the upside of 77.56 if I'm considering going long on it. Our next one's going to be BLMN, Bloomin'. So Bloomin's earnings report was a good report. It's up 7.07% year over year, but that's not saying much given how the last 2 years of COVID treated all the companies. It is a restaurant related stock, so it could continue going up this year as everything is expanding again. We're well above the 9 EMA right here on the daily, so this is the 9 EMA. So there is room for a pullback and even more room for a gap fill. 15-minute chart. We put in a nice day of consolidating Friday, and I'm really looking for a trigger, whether it go upside or downside. But I'm going to be watching where it sits towards this cloud if we're moving down, and make sure we're not going to bounce off this upper Ichimichu cloud and go north, or if we can pull back through and sustain it. So I'm looking for a upside trigger of 2738. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking for a downside trigger of 2671, which is also a pivot point. Upside trigger is going to be 2771. Let's see if that one can get any momentum over the next day or two. And then lastly, Crocs. What a load of Crocs. Ha! Dad jokes. Not a very good dad joke either. So, it had its earnings report, and it just does not want to hold up here. Spiked way up, and we're just pulling back, forming a nice tight wedge. Daily here, you can see big upper wick, big wick. We'll see what it can do tomorrow, but this one might be my top watch of all of them, because it's got a lot of insider selling going on, reported after close yesterday, with the president selling off over 10,000 shares for almost 1.5 million worth of shares, and that's not even the highest value of shares sold off by insiders yesterday or Friday. So we'll see. We could get some more reports of insider selling over the next day or two, and we could see that insider selling kind of start to pick up steam back down. So we'll see if it wants to do this gap fill here, or come back at least to the EMAs, whether it be the 9 or the 20. But I'm looking for downside movement here, with a short trigger of 130.16 and a long trigger of 138.31. Pivot point is about 135.05. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully one of these plays works out. Got these on my watch, and we'll see what happens. That's what I got. Thanks, guys.